Greetings, everyone. Today, we're delving into the intriguing realm of poker strategy. Have you ever found yourself pondering the concept of pot odds and their role in the world of no-limit Texas Hold'em? Well, wonder no more. While the topic of pot odds in poker isn't overly complex, hopefully this video will be concise and easy to follow. We'll start by defining pot odds. Then, we'll delve into the methodology behind calculating them, providing a handy cheat sheet for common poker scenarios. Finally, we'll explore practical ways to utilize pot odds for enhancing your gameplay and becoming a more proficient and ultimately profitable player. As most of us know, poker is known as being a game of incomplete information. However, one exception to this rule is the concrete concept of pot odds. Pot odds are a fundamental mathematical principle not only in poker but also in gambling as a whole. These odds precisely quantify the relationship between the amount you need to call and the potential winnings, inclusive of the sum you're required to call. They can be expressed as a ratio, such as 4-to-1, or as a percentage, like 20%. Don't fret if this seems a bit confusing at first, we'll soon have a look at a few examples to demystify the process. Let's have a look at an example. I will try and break down each step so you can follow along. For this example, we will say the pot size is a nice round number of $200. Now let's say we are facing a bet of $100 into the starting pot of $200. What are the pot odds for this situation? If you want to pause the video and give it a quick go. I do recommend having a go yourself just to get you thinking critically about pot odds. Well, the bet amount is $100 and the call amount is the same as the bet amount of $100. This gives us a total potential winnings of $400. When we put this into the equation, we can see we get pot odds of 0.25 or 25%. This is a trivial situation, but at least it shows us how to calculate pot odds. Obviously not all situations will be this simple, so let's have a look at a more complex example. In this example we will run through another situation, but this time in big blinds. In this scenario we are facing a huge, almost pot-sized bet of 68 big blinds into a pot of 77 big blinds. This is a fairly common spot in big pots where the players' stack sizes are similar to the pot size. Once again, feel free to pause the video and have an attempt yourself. So, let's break this one down. The pot size is currently 77 big blinds. The bet size is 68 big blinds. As before, the amount to call is the same as the bet size. This gives a total to be one of 213 big blinds. When we punch in the numbers this time, it comes out to a ratio of 145 to 68 or a percentage of 47%. Now you are probably thinking the exact same thing I first thought. How the hell am I supposed to calculate 68 divided by 213 at the poker table? Well, there is a simplification we can use in combination with estimation. Here we have a table that if memorized can give a great estimation to real-time pot odds. This table shows us a lot of information about pot odds based on the bet sizing in relation to the pot. The center column shows us the bet size, both as a pot size bet and percentage of the pot. The right column shows up the pot odds as a ratio and percentage. The left column is just an example of what a bet size may be into a pot of 100. We can now have a look at how to estimate our pot odds using the table. Let's take the last example. We know that the bet size was 68 big blinds and the pot size was 75 big blinds. So, if we look at the table, we can see that the bet size was close to being pot sized. As we can see, this equates to 33%, which is pretty close to our calculated answer of 32%. As we become more experienced with playing and common bet sizes, this table will become second nature and eventually obsolete as knowing pot odds becomes habitual. As for now, sizes like 1/3 pot and 2/3 pot are good to remember as these are commonly used through all levels of poker. That's all for how pot odds are calculated. Here I will just provide a little bit more information to really help set in the knowledge of pot odds. If we want to get a little bit more mathematical, here is the pot odds graphed as a function of bet size by percent of pot. As we can see, here are our common sizes as well as the sizes used in our examples. One thing that you may have noticed is that the larger the bet, the pot odds start to level off. This leveling off is because as the bet gets larger, the pot odds trend to 50%. From this graph we can see that a 1% pot size bet gives us almost 0% pot odds, meaning we can always call unless we know with certainty that we cannot win or chop the pot. Whereas on the other end we can see that a 10 times pot size bet gives around 47% pot odds. This isn't essential knowledge, but nonetheless it is good to know for when someone goes crazy and bets 100 into 10, you need to win around 50% of the time to be profitable. So how do we actually use pot odds? Let's look at our example from earlier. We calculated we are given 25% pot odds or 3 to 1. This means that if we are in this spot 100 times, we need to win the pot more than 25 times to be profitable, or more simply put, we need to be good 1 in 4 times to not lose money. We can use pot odds in combination with counting outs and estimated equities to help our decision making, potentially making us more profitable. This is basically what pot odds comes down to. If we can correctly assess our likelihood of winning the hand at a greater frequency than the given pot odds, we will be profitable. All we need to do once we have that down is to play loads of hands and overcome variance. Let's have a quick recap of all the information provided within this video. We started discussing what pot odds are and how they are the ratio of the risk versus the reward. We then discussed how to calculate the pot odds given in any situation where we are facing a bet or raise. Finally, we had a look at our table of odds, giving us a rough idea of the odds we are facing based on the bet versus the size of the pot. This table also gives us the ability to better estimate the pot odds being offered by a player. Before we finish, I would quickly like to mention that the pot odds for an all-in situation are always based on the effective stacks. If someone bets all in with $100 and we only hand 50, then the pot odds must be calculated based on the $50 we have. That's all for this one. If you found this video helpful, please consider hitting the like button. If you would like to keep up to date with my latest uploads, please also consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks again, good luck at the tables and don't forget to practice poker.